Hello everyone, and welcome to my Sister Wives Today channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Kody Brown has always been a polarizing figure in the world of reality television, but recent revelations about his treatment of his children, and more specifically his ongoing defense of Robyn Brown's kids, have once again thrust him into the spotlight in a way that has fans both stunned and frustrated, as he seemingly blames his original wives, Meri, Janelle, and Christine, for what he calls their abandonment of Robyn's children, a claim that has sparked massive debate in the Sister Wives community and beyond, because while it's no secret that family dynamics have been strained for years, especially after Kody's marriages to his three other wives fell apart, his decision to continuously point fingers rather than reflect on his own role in the fractured relationships has created a ripple effect of drama, resentment, and confusion that continues to divide both the family and its loyal viewers. And when Kody brings up the subject of Robyn's kids, Brianna, Aurora, Dayton, Solomon, and Ariella, he seems to paint them as the ultimate victims in this story, suggesting that the so-called abandonment by the OG wives left Robyn's children isolated and unsupported in a household that Kody now insists was unfairly targeted by disdain from the other parts of the family. But when you dig deeper into the narrative, the situation becomes far more layered, because while Kody insists that his other wives failed to accept Robyn's children as their own, countless fans argue that he set the tone for division long ago by prioritizing Robyn and her children in ways that alienated the others, creating an uneven playing field that made it nearly impossible for the original wives and their kids to feel included or respected. And this favoritism has been one of the central points of contention in Sister Wives for over a decade, as the camera captured countless moments where Kody seemed to lavish attention, money, and time on Robyn and her kids while neglecting his relationships with his older children and growing increasingly combative with his other wives, leading to the implosion of the plural marriage that once defined the series. And so when Kody now claims that Meri, Janelle, and Christine abandoned Robyn's kids, fans see it less as a statement of truth and more as yet another attempt by Kody to rewrite history in his favor, painting himself as the protective father and husband while conveniently ignoring the many times his own choices contributed to the family's collapse. And the tension around this narrative has only grown in recent seasons, especially following the tragic death of Garrison Brown, when viewers saw just how estranged Kody had become from his children with Janelle and Christine, in stark contrast to the closeness he maintained with Robyn's kids, further solidifying the perception that he operated with a clear double standard. But what makes this particular accusation so inflammatory is that it pits mother against mother, as Kody frames his original wives not just as women who left him, but as women who allegedly turned their backs on innocent children, which strikes at the very heart of their identities as mothers and caregivers, something fans know is deeply unfair given how Meri, Janelle, and Christine have spent years raising not just their own children, but contributing to the well-being of the family as a whole, often sacrificing their own happiness and resources for the sake of the larger plural unit. And to accuse them now of abandonment feels like a cruel twist of the knife, especially considering the countless times Kody himself admitted that plural marriage worked best when everyone was willing to embrace each other's children as their own. Yet he himself failed to live up to that principle when it came to balancing his affections and responsibilities. But perhaps what's even more telling is how this storyline reveals Kody's need to protect Robyn at all costs, because whether he's aware of it or not, his insistence on centering Robyn and her children as the true victims of the family fallout continues to alienate him from his older children, and further isolates him within a shrinking circle of support. And many fans now speculate that this obsession with defending Robyn's kids stems not only from his emotional attachment, but also from a desperate attempt to justify the choices he made over the years, because if Robyn's children are the victims, then Kody can frame himself as the noble protector, rather than the flawed patriarch whose favoritism destroyed his family. And yet the contradictions are glaring, as plenty of fans point out that Robyn herself once promised that entering the family wouldn't change the dynamics or create division. Yet from day one her arrival coincided with Kody's gradual withdrawal from his other wives and their children, making it nearly impossible for those bonds to flourish. And even though the OG wives did their best to welcome Robyn's kids at the beginning, Kody's behavior ensured that tension would eventually erode any sense of unity. So when he now accuses them of abandonment, It feels like gaslighting to many observers, an attempt to shift the blame for fractures he himself caused. But the saddest part of all is that the real victims here are not the adults but the children, who have grown up in an environment where favoritism, accusations, and emotional manipulation have overshadowed what could have been a supportive and loving extended family. And while Robyn's kids may indeed feel a lack of connection with Meri, Janelle, and Christine, that reality stems more from the choices of their parents than from any deliberate act of cruelty or rejection by the OG wives, who were simultaneously trying to navigate their own complicated relationships with Kody while managing their households and caring for their own children, leaving little room for the type of all-encompassing maternal energy Kody now retroactively insists they should have directed at Robyn's kids. And so the story becomes one of competing narratives, where Kody clings to his version of events in order to absolve himself of responsibility, while fans, critics, and even his own adult children continue to challenge the accuracy and fairness of his claims, pointing instead to a long history of imbalance, broken promises, and misplaced priorities that ultimately doomed the Brown family's plural marriage experiment. But if there's one thing this situation has made clear, it's that Kody's refusal to look in the mirror and acknowledge his role in the estrangement will only ensure that the rifts grow deeper, because blaming Meri, Janelle, and Christine for abandoning Robyn's kids not only misrepresents the past, but also guarantees that healing in the future will remain out of reach, leaving behind a fractured family defined not by unity or shared love, but by the echoes of favoritism and blame that continue to reverberate long after the cameras stop rolling. Christine Brown, star of Sister Wives, has revealed that she used drugs in secret. This has shocked fans to hear, as literally no one knew. Christine, on the other hand, was too ashamed to discuss it on television. Fans appreciate that she is now able to talk about everything because they understand where she was coming from. There is a lot to unfold and uncover when it comes to this. Continue reading to learn more about this circumstance. When Christine Brown releases her memoir, it destroys everything. Christine Brown was the first wife to leave the family. She was not enjoying her time, and felt as though the relationship was no longer benefiting her. However, she left and is now remarried. Christine Brown got married to David Woolley decently fast. However, her happiness is obvious to her fans, so they don't really see it as a problem. Now, Christine Brown has written a book about her time in the plural family. It is set to release on September 16th. However, some of it has been leaked and has already come out. In the book, she says a lot of shocking things. However, readers can't wait to read everything. In her book, Christine Brown says that she struggled with a secret drug addiction. She had knee surgery, which led her to take oxycodone, as that is the pain medicine they gave her during her healing process. Unfortunately, this led to an addiction. Even though I was only on it for a month, the effects lasted at least 6 weeks. It was very difficult. I didn't feel normal. I didn't feel okay for so long. So once I was done and I felt better, I just felt good to feel better. Additionally, I came to the realization that the oxycodone addiction was not something I revisited after writing the book. Fans are proud of her for speaking out on the situation. Nevertheless, it is shocking that she went through this without anyone knowing.